Welcome to the SPS Digital Learning Hour.
Brought to you by the Digital Learning and Assessment Department.
Thanks for joining us today. I'm your host, Mike Thomas. We're bringing you the latest news in Springfield Public Schools in regards to technology, along with inspiring interviews from teachers who are using technology in the classroom. We'll also inform you of the latest updates, practices, and news as it pertains to our district. Whether you are new to using technology in the classroom or a seasoned vet, we are here to help. Thanks for joining us today. One of the things you may or may not notice, depending on if you've actually listened to the podcast before or not, is that usually my partner in crime in this, Suzanne Zargis, is usually here with me. This week, though, we are taking a break from our regular format to just kind of give a few updates and just let you know what's going on. And I am actually doing the whole thing myself today. So, with that in mind, a few things to note. We are available on iTunes now. SPS Digital Learning Hour is available on iTunes. It's also available on YouTube, SoundCloud, and many of the other places where you can listen to podcasts. So hopefully you've taken time to download. One of the things that we really are hoping for is that you give us some feedback. You let us know. Give us some likes and some reviews, help bump us up there. So just kind of a recap of the first 6 episodes that we've done. We've had interviews with Brendan Reed, who works in our department, talking about MCAS. At this moment, we are about a week or 2 away from being done with most, if not all, of the MCAS testing, depending on the schedule your school set. We've also interviewed a number of teachers, including Denise Cardona. We actually, when we interviewed her at the We Learn Symposium, we actually had her students with us. Aaron O'Brien, Sarah Wright, and Katie Bartholet, and Wendy DeForest. We talked with all of them about the different things that they were presenters at our We Learn Symposium, and we talked about the different things that they were doing. We talked with Sean Fitzgerald, who also works in OITA, but more on the tech ops side. Spent a lot of time talking about Microsoft Office 365 and all the great and wonderful things that has available to them. We also talked with a principal, Mark McCann, over at, I believe, Sammy Bowles, if I remember the podcast correctly. And so he talked about how he's using technology in the classroom and what he's expecting of his staff and things that they are trying to do and to make improvements. With all of these interviews, one of the things that kind of kept coming up over and over again was take a small step. Try something and stick with it. It's hard sometimes when you're a classroom teacher and you've got lesson plans and IEPs and 504s and recess duty and lunch duty, and you have to have meetings constantly, PLC times. And then, of course, there's also the time when you're in front of the students teaching. And that's not taking into account the hours that many of us, I include myself in this, although I'm not teaching this year, but I have taught as soon as last year, how we would spend a lot of our free time developing lesson plans, making sure things work. I don't know. I was very particular. Many times you could catch me before or after school walking around preparing for my next lesson by talking out loud, saying like, I'm going to be saying these things. These are the students I'm going to be calling on. I was very much a type A personality when I was teaching. It had to have practice. I had to know what I was going to say beforehand. Not much threw me overall because I was taking that time to prepare. With all of that said, a lot of these interviewees, they talked about trying one thing at a time, taking a small step, taking a baby step. I encourage you to go back, listen to the interviews. They had a lot of great things to say, but the one thing that I kept coming back was take small steps. Try something. So whether that's using Brightspace or Discovery Ed or Microsoft Office 365, any one of those tools, just try it. Stick with it for a little while. I know for me, the first tool that I really focused with Brightspace was the Dropbox feature. And that was life-saving because I didn't have to bring home so many pieces of paper or notebooks. I could have the students just put it in the Dropbox. They would type it up. Sure, it took a little bit longer to get them to type up, but it got them the practice of what 2 pages looks like on a computer instead of 2 pages in a notebook. And then it saved me and my back lots of time because I didn't have to haul 30 to 40 notebooks every week. It was great. And I know for me, that was one of the things that made my job a little easier. And that's one of our goals with this podcast is to help you make your time teaching easier. We know that it is so time consuming being a teacher, and it takes up so much time. All of our free time, our kids suffer, our families suffer, our marriages suffer, our good friendships suffer because we have to say no a lot, or you run the opposite of having to stay up for so much longer. And so one of our hopes, one of our dreams with this podcast is we help you learn about tools and teach you about different tools and talk about different tools. And so that you can make your time instead of being so focused on what am I teaching the next day? What am I teaching next week? What were those 3 standards I need to spend this time on again? So that's one of our goals with our We Learn podcast here, our SPS Digital Learning Hour, is to help you and help decipher information for you. If you have things you want us to talk about or things that you want to learn more about but don't have the time yourself to do research on, please reach out to us. We will gladly spend our hot take time finding information dealing with your particular topic. I know one of our episode topics, we talked about the SPS-ma model and how just confusing it can be and what SPS-ma actually looks like. We also spend time talking about the growth mindset, and that's one of the things I know when I was teaching. One of the keys was once I got those students to believe that they could do anything, even if they failed, they could still come out on top. And growth mindset was huge with them. Students learning to critique each other and 21st century skills and what that means and differences between introverts and extroverts and how to help the introverts in class and TED Talks and girls in technology and modern learning and ebooks. There's just so much information out there that we took the time, read the articles, did the research, and tried to decipher down the information for you. Those were the things that we spent our time talking about in Hot Takes. I can tell you coming up, my hot take for next week is all going to be about, my time is going to be all about design thinking and theory and what that looks like, where it's not so much a checklist or something that you have to go XYZ and boom and do, but it's more about the process behind what that looks like, which is huge. Again, it's a very big topic, and the more I learn about it, the more I'm like, yes, this is what I would do if I was teaching, and I really hope that we are able to do that with you. So if you haven't listened to any of our podcasts before, I highly suggest you go out and check it out. Give us some likes on iTunes. Go to Spreaker.com where it's hosted. All the links are there. All the links seem to be appearing in iTunes at the moment. We would love your feedback. If you would love to be interviewed and talk with us about technology in the classroom and how you're using it or things that you would love to see, reach out to us. We will come to you. We will meet with you wherever you're at. If you want to come downtown after school one day or before school, we'll meet with you here in our offices. But we love being out at schools, and we have microphones and we do travel. So I just want to, from our first podcast, one of the first things that we said, we want to reiterate today, which is why we're doing what we're doing. One of the reasons that we're doing this podcast is to help you, our listeners. We know how busy everyone is in education and how difficult it is to find uninterrupted time to read about new technologies and think about how you can implement it in your practices. The podcast goals are to get you the information in a way you can access it anywhere at any time. Our podcast is a way for you to hear about exciting work your colleagues are doing all across the district and the most up-to-date technology news that applies to you. As educators, we have a lot to offer each other and share, and this is just one way for us to leverage the technology we have to get the news out to you. For those who haven't listened to the show before, we follow a few segments. We have the In Case You Missed It, which is when we will update you on the latest blog posts and system updates and other things that we've learned. that have taken place over the past week. Hot takes, where we discuss things that we've been learning about. That's our own learning interspliced with our opinions. We are hoping that we can inspire discussion and share our thoughts with you, and hopefully you'll respond in that way to us. And like we said, even with our hot takes, we would love to hear from you. And if you have things you'd love to hear us talk about, then by all means message us. And after our hot takes, we have our interview of the week. Anytime we get comments or we will respond to after the interview, we'll also have a question of the week, which applies to what we've discussed in the show or what we heard during the interview. And so with all of this, one of the things that we really do value is our time with you. We know that this podcast, some episodes are 45 minutes, some are an hour long. We know that you guys are very busy and we value your time, and we thank you for giving us some of your attention. We love what we do. We love being able to help teachers use technology in a way that they may never have dreamed possible. So keeping in the spirit of the blog and of our In Case You Missed It, the last blog post went out and it is all about music in the classroom, and not just sing songs to learn how to do things, but like having background music and the science behind it. I even included a Spotify playlist, which I will warn you, Spotify, unless you pay for it, there's commercials just like Pandora or any other music playing venue that is not your own music. There are commercials and you can't control them. And so I just give you that little warning with it. But the Spotify playlist has a lot of modern classical music on it. So it's got some traditional classical, and it's got a couple of my favorite groups, the Piano Guys and Vitamin String Quartet, who perform modern songs. That playlist is available on Spotify. There's a link in our liner notes. Other than that, we just want to thank you guys again for listening and taking your time and spending it with us. And I hope to meet all of you at some point. I say that knowing that there's at least 2,500 teachers in the district. And if anyone who is not a teacher listening to it that works in the district, that number gets larger and larger. But again, our job is to help you, and we would love to meet with you and talk with technology about you, or just send us an email. We're always available at dlasupport@springfieldpublicschools.com. Thank you for your time this week, and Suzanne and I will be back on Tuesday with our latest episode, talking about design theory and whatever she has for her hot take this week. I don't actually have it in front of me, so I can't look at it. But I have a feeling that it has something to do with podcasts and a top 50 list, which, again, top 50 list. If you listen a few episodes back when we talked about the TED Talks, I love lists and I love reading about lists. So I'm Mike Thomas. Thanks for listening.